J.C. Newman Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Smokin Nicole.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tabacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTabacco.com, and it is the week of Christmas. That's right, this is our Christmas episode. Don't really have anything very Christmassy planned, other than the fact that the guest that we have on with us tonight actually was on with us last year, right before Christmas. And so I think what might end up happening is that every year this guest is going to probably, I think we got to keep this going. This is going to be our Christmas. This is our week of Christmas guest. I don't know. We'll see. But I am joined once again by my beautiful wife, Smokin Nicole, who is here in another area. She's not in the studio with me. I am here in the J.C. Newman Cigar Studios tonight. I have. I think we're still doing this. Hold on, let me just pull this up really quick. But it is the. I think we're still in the 12 days of Christmas for J.C. Newman.
We are.
Let me just check the. The final date is Friday. So tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last one. So I will read it off once again. You probably heard this last week, but J.C. Newman is celebrating the holidays with 12 days of giveaways. Cigar enthusiasts who visit J.C. Newman's Instagram page at j.c.newmancigarco can enter each day to win a variety of limited cigar-related prizes listed below. In total, J.C. Newman will be giving away 78 collectible items from humidors to ashtrays to cigar cutters and much more. And to read more about this, you can head over to SmokinTabacco.com, as well as visit J.C. Newman on Instagram. Once again, at j.c.newmancigarco. For more information, tomorrow is the last day. I don't know. I think they're taking entries for today. So I don't know what the cutoff is, but get on it right now. So you can check that out at J.C. Newman. Nicole, we're gearing down. I mean, we have one more episode of the year, and then that's it. 2022 is over.
We have to announce our top 25 cigar list.
we do. That is being
It's
finalized. The Smokin Tabacco team of myself, Nicole, Mitchell, we have been working on finalizing that list, and it's just about there. And as soon as it's done, I think what's going to happen is we're going to go live, and we're going to do a little countdown, if you will. Of going through all the cigars, and then we'll post it on SmokinTabacco.com, so that way everyone can get. And sorry, I'm gonna just do this one thing, and then like I said, we'll post it online. And I don't know if we're gonna rank all of them or if we're gonna rank. I think we're gonna rank all of them. So they'll all be ranked in order and all that. So exciting stuff. Then we have our awards. We have our Smokin Tabacco awards for various different things. We have best innovation. We have we have our Man of the Year, Woman of the Year, stuff like that. Yep. So, yeah, so we have all that stuff too. So
most innovative cigar of the year.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be cigars specifically. It's just general innovation within the industry. But I think, well, I'll tease it. This one's already been settled. It does involve a cigar. It is a cigar. But it's also more than that too. So there's a lot going on there. So you'll have to wait and find out. We'll be rolling those out. I think we're going to get through Christmas first. So probably next week is the beginning of awards and cigar of the year and all that other stuff. So just be sure to look out for all of that stuff. And I am using a different interface, and I'm trying to find the interview window. There it is. So without further ado, I think we should bring our guest on. I'm really excited about this because this particular company had probably one of the biggest years in the industry this year. I think that they made one of the biggest splashes at the trade show. They made one of the biggest splashes within the industry. And they have cigars that are making some serious contention on some of these lists that we just talked about. So it's going to be interesting to see how else. So there's a lot going on here with this company. But without further ado, we're going to bring on Oliver Nivaud of United Cigar. Very excited to have Oliver with us tonight. Oliver, it's always a pleasure. Technically, Oliver is like one of our hometown peeps because he's technically based out of New Hampshire. even though he travels everywhere. But I like to call him one of our own hometown peeps. So it's always exciting to have your own people on. Oliver, welcome back to the Smokin Tabacco Show.
Thank you. Love to be back. So you said so many nice things there. I can't thank you guys, both of you, enough. For the possibility to be on every year around this time. I mean, nothing says Christmas like a Frenchman living in Boston, smoking a Dominican YAYA, right? But no, I appreciate that. And look, with everything that was going on in the cigar industry this year, for you to even mention us in that same sentence is humbling. So I appreciate that. But we've done a lot of work, and it's good just to be noticed and to be talked about. So thank you.
Absolutely. And it's not, it's not BS. It's true. And if anyone follows the Spare Note show, if anyone follows the Spare Note show, and you listen to myself and Coop, you know that we've talked about United all year long, especially right after the trade show. Going into the trade show, when we talked about who we most excited to see, it was United, La Flor Dominicana, Micallef, all the brands that were making their return, but not just because they were making their return, but because they're solid brands that have done great things, and we knew that coming back to the trade show, there was going to be things that you guys all brought to the table. First of all, you guys came back to the trade show. Just the Nelson Alfonso stuff from Selected Tobacco was that you brought a lot more stuff with you this year. Then you go over to the strictly everything else United. You had YAYA, you had Red Anchor, you had the Silver Bar. Am I missing anything? There was since the last time you attended a trade show in 2019, which was back then IPCPR, you had also kind of revamped the Bandolero line at Selected. So there was a lot of new stuff. And you guys also brought on Arnold Andre that you now distribute.
Correct.
So that was also at the United booth. So there was a lot of new things that we saw from you guys at the trade show this year, and which some of it we knew about. So going into the trade show, it was like, oh, we know there's a couple new things, but then we got to the trade show, and there was even more than we even thought. So same thing with LFD. LFD, they were coming back. We knew that they had the NFT thing they were showing. They had a new cigar with the Soli that Lito Gomez Jr. blended. So, I mean, there was, which you guys weren't actually that far away. So that whole corner of the trade show floor, there was a lot of heat over there this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we were really in the back corner, and with LFD, sharing good company, and there was a lot that went on in 2022. So yeah, you're absolutely right. 2019 was our last show. 2020 happened, which we'd all like to forget. And then 2021, we were redesigning the booth, and we didn't think the PCA was going to happen, so we weren't ready for it, and we didn't just want to go and display anything. So we weren't a part of it, unfortunately, but still very supportive of the PCA, IPCPR. And then this year we wanted to really come out swinging. And Nelson had a totally new booth. United Cigars, we distribute Selected Tobacco, but because Selected Tobacco had grown over the last 2 years, not only with retailers and selling the product, but just the product mix and what Nelson was coming out with, then United had grown so much that we really had to kind of separate the two to give both sides a proper space to be able to talk about the product, display it, and show it to retailers. So United had its own spot right at the front end of the Selected Tobacco booth, and then Selected Tobacco with Nelson, we had everything displayed from the lines that were out, like the Byron, Atabey, and Bandolero, and then the new introductions of some lines within Byron, the Byron to Peak Poema Humidor, launching and displaying brands coming out in 2023 and beyond, and the Atabey Humidor, which was front and center for Nelson and Selected Tobacco. which is an absolutely gorgeous humidor that will be going out to retailers next year, which is
Yeah,
10 days.
Yeah. First of all, before we get too ahead of ourselves here, because I don't want to miss anything, I wanted to ask you, what are you smoking with us tonight?
So tonight, I'm smoking the YAYA. This is made by Carlos Guillermo Gonzalez out of the Magia Cubana factory, Dominican blend, Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, and great price point for retailers. Very approachable for consumers. Just a lot of flavor, and it was the right fit after a very long car ride for me from Connecticut, where I was. I was in New York City and then Connecticut just the last couple of days. So it's a welcome cigar.
Oh, there you go. I'm smoking a fan favorite. Nicole's not smoking tonight, but I'm smoking a fan favorite from United Selected Tobacco. I'm smoking the Atabey Spiritus Lancero, which if you head over to 2guyscigars.com, that's right, that's the number 2 guyscigars.com, you can pick up this cigar for $32, or you can buy a box of, I believe, is it 25, Oliver?
25 count.
20?
25.
You can pick up a box of 25 Atabey Spiritus for $7.99. Hefty price point, but you get what you pay for. They're great cigars. I mean, these are some of the best cigars ever, and this Spiritus Lancero is one of the best cigars I've ever smoked, and that's no BS. I say it all the time. Nicole and I love this cigar. It's definitely in our top favorite cigars of all time, and that is, again, at the number 2, guyscigars.com. 2guyscigars.com has a great selection, really wide selection of cigars. All the fan favorites are there, including some new ones, some faces you may have never seen before, but you should give them a try. The number 2 guyscigars.com. Go over there, order some cigars, support our friends over there, but also order a lot of cigars, a lot of boxes, do some big orders so that Barry Stein has to, box all your cigars up and keep him busy. We got to keep Barry busy and stressed. You know what I mean? As always, nothing but love to Barry. Just a little bit of fun. But I'm also cutting and letting my cigars with our Cigar Blondie accessories, the fabulous guillotine cutter from Cigar Blondie, as well as the slim, the sleek, the flat blade flame. Oh, I dropped the lighter there. Really stylish. Comes in 3 finishes: the chrome, the white, and the black. Only at cigarblondie.com. Oliver, we kind of talked about it a little bit before. About the year you had and some of the stuff you guys have done. You talked about Selected a little bit. We talked about YAYA. You're smoking a YAYA tonight. That's obviously one of the newer things. Another cigar I wanted to talk about. I want to start it off kind of with this, and we'll kind of go back to some of the other stuff. But the Red Anchor. I mean, Red Anchor is that's a fantastic cigar. Nicole and I both smoked it.
Thank you.
We both smoked it. We were both blown away by it. It was like, wow. Tell us a little bit about that brand. Now, I know the story. The viewers might not, but that's an old brand. That brand name, it may be new to some people today, but that brand has been around for an extremely long time.
It has, and actually in 1772. I don't know the right light on that, but that's the Red Anchor. We want to first, if we just look at the packaging, Red Anchor right on the front. When you see it, that's the first thing that you say. There's no confusion. There's no mistaking it. When you walk into a shop, you may not remember the name of the brand, but you usually remember either colors or maybe the way it sounded. So we, you look at this band. It's very classy, and it's just a Red Anchor. So you can't forget this. Then what we hope when you get it in your hands, you're going to love it. And then another reason not to forget it is just the blend of tobaccos. But Red Anchor started in 1772. It's the oldest, from our research, the oldest cigar brand in the world. So this year, we launched the Red Anchor, one size, the Admiral 6x52, to celebrate the 250th anniversary of Red Anchor. And we worked very, very closely with the Kellner family. Actually, excuse me, Hendrick Jr. at KBF. And this was a project that we started to talk to the family and working with KBF. a little while back, because Red Anchor was a brand that was started in Holland. So the Henke, the Kellner family was originally from Holland, and we wanted to partner with them. We thought it'd be a great partnership. KBF has incredible tobacco, and we thought it'd be a perfect fit. So when we sat down, we went through. Really, it was pretty quick when we were coming up with the blends, because we presented the idea, what we wanted, and it was wow, just seeing Hendrik come alive with it and saying, I have some tobacco that I wanted to work with, and there's a blend that I've been working on, and I'm very excited about it. So we sat down, we went over a couple things, and then the next trip out, he had this blend that was, really just spot on, and nailed it right out of the gate. So it's an Ecuadorian 2000 Habano wrapper. And then there's a lot of tobacco that he uses from the family farms, but the binder is a Dominican Monte Plata binder, and then he uses San Vicente Dominican, Habano 92 Dominican, and Pennsylvanian USA tobacco in there. So it's a great blend. It's very distinct. It's a more of a premium price point, but the cigars are aged, the tobacco's aged. It's a beautiful blend that was actually very well received at the show. We had the father coming over to the booth multiple times, bringing people over, because he was thrilled with the packaging, with the cigar, with the project, and stealing a lot of our samples. So we were running out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I remember by the time I got to the booth, we first saw you, like right out of the gate. I think you were the first one, or you were the second one. But like I remember I set it up to like get you like almost right away, because I knew like you guys were gonna be busy.
First day, right in the morning,
like
you were there.
Yeah, it was right out of the gate, but we only got to do selected, and then I think there was like already like 5 people waiting for you, and I was like, I'll come back, we'll do United later, and so by the time I made it back to do United stuff, all the samples were gone. I think you only had like one left, so I got one. And I brought it home and I let it rest, and I smoked it, and I was like, wow, this is great. And then I picked up some more. Nicole had it. We really enjoyed it. I think the price point on that, I believe, it was around like $25.
So yeah, for the Admiral, it was 25, and that's obviously with non-tax states, but $25 price point.
Yeah, you're right. It's once you go above that 20, I know there's a lot of people out there that probably they start to see as getting up there in price, but when it comes to certain brands, like I said with the Atabey, you get what you pay for most of the time. Sometimes you don't, but with United stuff, Red Anchor, Atabey, Byron, certainly some of the Padron stuff even, it's good quality. You're getting a great cigar, a lot of flavor, balanced profile, very complex. It's definitely a cigar you got to try, and I'm betting now that you're going to see that cigar on several lists. As all the lists start to come out, we're in that Cieno Cigar Coupe started to roll out. CA's already announced their cigar of the year. There's the Half Wheel Consensus, then there's the Half Wheel list, there's our list, there's so many more. I bet you're gonna see that cigar more on lists. It's fantastic. It really is. And another cigar that came out this year. You guys also did a Bandolero Firecracker. Now, the Firecracker series is something that you guys do every year, but this time you did it with with a brand that's already kind of under the United umbrella with the Bandolero, which I thought was also very interesting. That was very unique. Unique. That was a great cigar. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Bandolero. Yeah, within our portfolio, but again, we don't manufacture that. Those lines. So that
right.
That's out of the Selected Tobacco portfolio. So it was unique because the regular United Firecracker is our production that we do throughout the year, and that's sold out to retailers, and then the retailers that carry the United Firecracker then have access to those limited releases. And in the past, it's always been the limited release, that the large one that comes out in end of June for the 4th of July, that we work with other manufacturers, and that's a special edition, limited run. Usually now it's up to 1,000 boxes, per release. And it just seemed like the right fit. The Bandolero was still young to the market, but it's a cigar that's aged for a minimum of 1 to 2 years post roll. So it's something that we had planned on when Bandolero was kind of starting to gain some ground. And I think it worked. It worked for both of us, both sides, because people that that we have some firecracker accounts that don't carry Bandolero, and then there are some accounts that had Bandolero that just wanted to get into the United portfolio, and to get access to that, they had to carry the firecracker. So it was great timing. I think the blend was absolutely phenomenal. It was a blend. It was a mix between the Series A and the Series C in Bandolero. So you had a little mix and a little more kick, but it was very unique, and it was absolutely fantastic cigar.
And you did 2 firecrackers this year, because you also did the Big Poppy firecracker that we saw at TPE earlier this year, with our now formerly El Artista, now Artista cigars in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, we did the Big Poppy again. I'm a big baseball fan, so that was right for opening day. There was a little bit of a delay this year with the season, so the timing kind of helped us as well, because there were some delays on production. But great partnership there. And we have a couple firecrackers coming out. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. We have a little bit of a delay tonight because our setup's a little bit different than it normally is. So bear with us. I was adding in there, like, I did forget that the baseball season started late, and I do remember because the baseball season was supposed to start earlier than usual, because they were trying to redo the schedule, but then because of the strike, it got pushed out even later than it was supposed to, which it did help you guys, because you had it more closer to opening day than originally planned, so that was good.
Yeah, there were some delays. Packaging has been an issue with everyone. There were some delays there, and then trying to get David Ortiz to record some personalized videos, because inside of every Big Poppy firecracker box there was a QR code, and you scan the code and it gave you a personalized or a video for the Big Poppy firecracker. And then there were 10 boxes that were signed, and those 10 boxes had a unique code for the winners of the autograph box that had an additional video to share with them. So between that whole production, it delayed us a little bit, but we were on time for what happened to be the opening day this year.
That also that was a great cigar. The Big Poppy line, the brand itself, is one that I've enjoyed. It was one of the first cigars that was done for an athlete that I really felt was kind of set itself apart, or even just like the celebrity cigars as a whole. You hear a lot of people talk about the celebrity brand cigars, and if you watch the Spare Notes show, Coop and I have definitely covered this topic very specifically. There's a lot of times, a lot of those kind of come out, and it sounds cool. It gets a lot of flash in the beginning because the name's attached, but and it's not me saying that they're bad, but just there's been a trend where these cigars come out and then they kind of just fade away, and then they kind of disappear. Big Poppy is one of those cigars that really kind of hasn't. It's continued to grow. It's stuck around. It's a great cigar. It's made by great factory, great people. Yeah. They've added on to that. They've done the limited edition, with you guys at United. So clearly, that cigar is really working for them. And that's a big deal, because, like I said, that's not something that happens to every one of those celebrity collabs that you see. There's several I could mention that I won't, but there's several I could mention that have come out in the last couple of years that I don't see anywhere anymore. I don't hear anyone talking about them. I don't see anyone smoking them, and it's just kind of like, where they are. But I still see Big Poppy being smoked. I still hear people talking about it. I still have people asking me, like, "Oh, have you had that cigar? That sounds great." And I always tell people, "Yeah, it is." So there's still some buzz there, so I think that's great. Great for you guys.
Yeah, I think it's a testament. Yeah, For us, it's fantastic. I think it's a testament to Ram at Artista for what he's done with the company. Um, you know, you're talking to him, his focus was creating a cigar, and then it seemed like the right fit with, you know, with David Ortiz. And you know, not to say the other companies, you know, maybe it just didn't work out as a flash in the pan. They were more focused on the celebrity than the cigar. But I know I can just speak on, you know, our Artista's production, that they did a phenomenal job with the blend, and we were very happy with the firecracker that they produced for us.
Yeah, now, was there a re-release of the Wise Man Maduro firecracker this year as well? Because I know
There
they
was
came
a
out last
re-release.
year.
Yeah,
Oh,
correct.
okay.
Yeah, 2021. So typically, if we do a firecracker with another manufacturer and it's a limited release, if they are willing and it was a success for both sides, you know, we typically will approach them for a second run, and we'll do a re-release. So last year we had the Wise Man Maduro, that was the June release, and we did the re-release with Nick at Foundation for the Wise Man Maduro in the fall, and that was, you know, another, you know, just another great blend. It's, you know, that's all Foundation, that's all Nick. You know, that's his blend, and they'll tweak it a little bit for the particular you know, size of a firecracker. That's a 3.5 by 50. But yeah, we did the re-release in the fall, and yeah, we have a couple more firecrackers coming out this year in addition to the June release. So the firecracker's been doing well for retailers. It's a nice piece to keep the you know, the customers engaged, and keep them excited about the brand. There's always something new coming out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to what year was it? Was it 2020? You guys did the Perdomo firecracker? It was 2020. I think it was because I remember. I think it was during the pandemic.
2020 was, yeah, 2020 was Perdomo, and then we did the re-release in 2021. Yeah,
That was one of my favorites. Out of all of them, that was one of my favorites.
yeah, it's hard to go wrong. You know, and everyone's got a different palate. So maybe people, you know, like the productions we do with the different manufacturer, maybe they don't. But that one, it's hard to go wrong with Perdomo. I mean, they're very consistent. You know, great flavor profiles across the board, and they have something for everybody in their portfolio.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, like you said, you can't go wrong with Perdomo. Perdomo is one of those brands
No.
where, great price point, but super high quality, consistent, always on the shelf. I mean, it's you can't go wrong with Perdomo. I mean, you got a genius like Nick Perdomo. I mean, anyone who's ever gotten to have 5 minutes of conversation with Nick will know. I mean, that guy is just. I mean, he's in it to win it. I mean, he's dialed in. He's focused. You know, he doesn't take shortcuts. He's truly unique. He's truly unique. In addition to all of that, the firecrackers are great, fun stuff. Look forward to seeing, you know, new ones coming out. But
there's a
go
question I just see that popped up. It says, you know, from Law. It says they made the Perdomo firecracker for two guys. Perdomo was okay with someone else making their stick. So just to clarify, the firecracker came out in 2006, 2007 as a production for David Garofalo, who came up with the firecracker size. Then after that, it went through you know, a couple of years, and then they the first like collaboration was the M80 that came out with Tatuaje, and then in 2015 the collaboration was with LFD. So that was the first launch with, you know, to keep it consistent, to do a limited release. So anytime there's a limited release with the firecracker line, it's not us blending it or working. We'll work with the manufacturer, but they'll send us, you know, some samples, but really it's their blend, it's their take on their brand. So in particular, that Perdomo was made by Nick Perdomo at the Perdomo factory. It was the 20th anniversary blend. So it was very important for Nick, and it was a great, and for everyone at Perdomo, but a very important collaboration. So they used the 20th century blend and 20th anniversary rather. So it was made at their factory. It's their cigar. It's just a collaboration, and it's sold exclusively and distributed exclusively through United Cigars.
Right. Yeah, I know that that's something that has come up before. A lot of people think not even just the Firecracker, but a lot of the United stuff. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, it's two guys." It's not a two guys. This is a United. United is a separate entity from Two Guys Smoke Shop. So anything that United does is for United. It's not for Two Guys Smoke Shop. And I know this has been a topic too. So I will jump in with you on this and have you clarify that yes, they are separate entities. Especially the Firecracker. It's not for Two Guys Smoke Shop. It's for United Cigar.
Yeah. Well, and obviously Two Guys is I mean, he created the Firecracker. He has access to the limited releases. They go to the Two Guys shops, but yeah, as a distribution arm, manufacturing arm, that's the United side, and that's where we work with the different manufacturers, and we manufacture our own cigars as well.
Absolutely. And now, in addition to all of that, you guys have started to bring in more brands. Like I mentioned before, one of them that was interesting, Arnold Andre, a brand that, if I remember correctly, that brand's already kind of been out in Europe, but it's making its debut in the U.S. with United, or has it already been here?
Correct. No. It's so Arnold Andre is a company that's over 200 years old. They produce. I think we're mainly known for their cigarillos and machine made throughout Europe. And in 2010, they bought a factory in the Dominican and started producing premium cigars for their European market. And they had approached some companies to have their cigars distributed in the U.S. I guess nothing ever worked out, and we were fortunate enough to to sit with them, and it was the right partnership. It fit into our portfolio, great price points, and great cigars. So we took on only 2 of their lines, but they have they have quite a few premium cigars that they distribute outside of the U.S. The 2 lines that we brought in to the U.S. With them was the Montosa, which comes in a natural and a Maduro, right around the $6 price point retail, and then the Terra Nova, which comes in the Araparique and a dark fired Kentucky blend. So very distinct, very unique, beautiful blends. That dark fired Kentucky is nothing to shy away from. I know some people, when I say it, they cringe a little bit because they're thinking it's very smoky, very peaty, but it's very subtle. It's a nice medium-bodied cigar, but just a great amount of smokiness to complement the cigar.
Yeah, I tried those cigars when they first went on sale. I enjoyed them. I thought they were very good, great quality, especially with the price point. It was nice to see something just kind of new. It was refreshing to see just a whole new brand in the market, which we've seen. We kind of always see like new brands, right? But brands that already have existed for a while and now they're making their U.S. debut. We've specifically seen that with a handful of brands the last couple of years, and it's just kind of interesting because you take a brand it's not a new brand that's just trying to like get legs as a whole. There's brands that have already been established, and now they're just trying to, debut in the U.S. market, which for cigars is a pretty big market. So it's always interesting to see, well, how do they perform in the U.S. market? So hopefully they continue to do well. But no, they're great cigars, and sorry, I lost my whole train of thought there. I had something wrong with my headset, and I pulled it away, and then I'm like, fuck.
It was important for them to come to the U.S. and that partnership that we have with them, for right now has been working out very well. So still a lot of growth that needs to be done, but again, it's a new brand to the market, and to your point, it's not easy. There have been several Even brands that come in that aren't in Europe yet that are trying to break into the U.S. market. It's not easy, and a lot of European brands that have come to the U.S. market have had a little more pushback than they originally thought.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a few that come to mind that I can remember that have come out, and I don't want to say that they thought it would be easy, because I mean, I don't think anyone can ever say like they think anything's gonna be easy, but it's like you see a brand, you're like, oh wow, like this is cool, they've been around, whatever. And there's been a few that have just kind of tapered away and kind of just gone back to Europe. And then there's some that have come and they've grown and they've got even bigger because they need it in the U.S. market. So it's interesting to see, the U.S. market specifically, especially in this industry, given kind of the nature. I mean, we're the only country in the world that doesn't have Cuban cigars. So anytime you leave the United States and you go to a cigar shop, I mean, you have Habanos and then you have New World. Whereas you come to the United States, it's New World, as they all call it, and then there's no Cubans. So it's a very different dynamic when you're talking about the marketplace and the retail shops and the online stores, because you don't have that whole Cuban dynamic going against everything else. It's just we only know Dominican, Nicaragua, Honduras. We don't have that other Cuban aspect that has all this glitz and mythery behind it that they all have. Like, oh well, you have the Cuban stuff, which is what we know and what we love, and then there's this new stuff that we're trying to get into. But us, it's just we just have that new stuff. And I mean, if you ask anyone here, it's arguably much better than the Cuban stuff these days. So
Right, and part of that, not to take anything away from the Cubans, but part of that is because that's what we have access to. So that's what
Correct.
we know. But I mean, we're fortunate enough, I think, in the U.S. to have an incredible selection of cigars from all over the world. Honduras, Nicaragua,
absolutely,
Dominican. Yeah, so very fortunate.
Now, we there's another thing I wanted to get to tonight. I was trying to kind of build up to a little bit, but I'm excited to get into it. And we mentioned Cuba, and when you mention Cuba, when it comes to United, you think of Selected Tobacco, you think of Nelson Alfonso. Now, a lot of people know Nelson previously from the work he's done with Habanos on some of their things, design-wise, right? He's an artist. He's creative genius, as some would say.
Right.
You are very fortunate to be someone who gets to work with Nelson and hear his ideas and get to see things.
Very.
He really is. He's done some amazing stuff. But this year, we saw the debut of the Alfonso line. Now, the Alfonso line is arguably probably one of the best, if not the best cigar I've smoked all year.
Wow.
That really blew me away. I liked that cigar better than Atabey and Byron combined, and those are two brands that I hold to some really high regards. I really enjoy the Alfonso. Tell us a little bit about that cigar for anyone who maybe hadn't heard about it yet, who maybe already is familiar with some of his other things. I know that this one was a big one for you guys this year.
Yeah, the Alfonso line debuted along with the Byron 1850 line this year at the PCA, and when we have conversations with Nelson, and when I talk to Nelson about once a week, and he started to describe the Alfonso line and the Byron 1850, and I just, in my mind at the time, I couldn't imagine something that was going to set itself apart as just different, not better. But in your words, thank you. That's high praise. But how is he going to distinguish these cigars from the lines that had already been out from Atabey and Byron and Bandolero? And when he started to explain the process behind the Alfonso and the Byron 1850, and then I had a chance to smoke them, I was blown away, because they were still very unique, but completely different from Atabey and the core Byron line. So what he did differently was with Alfonso. So with his lines, if I back up, his lines, the Atabey, Byron, Bandolero, he'll take the cigars. They go through 3 to 5 different fermentations. The tobacco's aged. Once they're rolled in Costa Rica, not using any Costa Rican tobacco. Once they're rolled, they're shipped out to Spain, and that's where Nelson puts them into true aging rooms. So for the first year, all the cigars are placed into a single room that's lined with 5 different cedars: Cuban, Spanish, Mexican, Brazilian, and Lebanese cedars. They'll go through an aging process where humidity is brought down to 40% and then back up to 70, give or take 5%. And what that does is the cigar actually shrinks when it goes to 40%. So it's purging all the humidity that's in the cigar. It's purging it out. It's forcing out the humidity. Then when it goes up to that 70%, it's breathing in all the different cedar notes throughout the humidor. So that goes through the process. For Bandolero, it's 1 to 2 years of post-roll age. Byron, anywhere from 3 to 5 years, and that's noted with the secondary band, and all Atabes are aged for a minimum of 5 years. But the cigars are placed into an aging room for the first year because he wants to make sure that the cigars are completely void of any ammonias or impurities. Once they go through that first stage of the aging process in that humidor, they're all removed from that humidor, and then they're placed into another aging room where then they can kind of finish off their aging process. So that's Nelson's line, and that's unique to the industry and to cigars. With the Alfonso and the Byron 1850, Nelson took it a step further. Not only changing the blends, using more Nicaraguan Ligero for both lines and more Peruvian tobacco, but inside the humidors for Alfonso and for the Byron 1850 only, he started using French oak, which just offered when I smoke them, a different layer of complexity to the cigar. So the Alfonso and the Byron 1850 are very unique to the portfolio. It offers a completely different experience, and I don't know if it's 100% because of that aging process, or if it's because the experience when you're smoking the selected tobacco lines that it just takes you away mentally and physically. But they smoke a lot slower than a typical cigar. Like even the YAYA I'm smoking now, the Robusto size. If I take the Brujos in the Atabey line and I smoke that smoke time is a lot longer than a YAYA Robusto is. And part of that is the aging, it's the tobacco, but the value per minute is much greater in the selected tobacco line.
Do you think that French oak is it's an interesting one. And French oak is also something that is used a lot in the wine barrel process, or the wine barrel, aging process.
Wine, whiskey,
even with whiskey too. So that's interesting. You often compare, the alcohol aging process of certain types of wine, whiskey, with tobacco, because it's not the same, but it's similar. It's the same kind of mentality, right?
Yeah.
And you always hear cedar. Now you hear French oak, and you kind of like take a step back and be like, oh, really? But you're right, and it's funny that you say that, because I noticed the same thing. It was such. You do pick up that French oak. It's different. You taste it on the palate. You're like, there's this flavor here that I'm not used to tasting, and it's really nice, and it blends really nice, and it's a smooth flavor. And of course, with his aging process being what it is, I mean, the cigars, they age so well, and all the impurities that come out, and it's such a clean, just velvety smoke.
Yeah.
But to have that extra flavor component in there, it really I think it really changed the whole thing with just that French oak.
Yeah, with just the French oak, and you said it, and then it looks like Mitchell mentioned it too. You used the word clean, and I've been saying that for years. And when I talked to Nelson about the cigar, when you're smoking those cigars, once you're done, you smoked a cigar. It's obvious, but your palate is just so clean, and you're absolutely right. When you're looking at scotches, bourbons, tequilas, it's an aging process, but it's the woods that are used. They're so fixated on the woods in those spirits that you can see it in their labeling and their descriptions. One of the first things that they talk about is aged in French oak or charred oak or cherry casks. The wood is so important for the spirits that Nelson has always been fixated on the wood and the aging, that the cedar is so important to the cigar's aging process and allowing the cigars and the tobacco to properly marry together, that that changing it and starting to use French oak was just important to him. He was fixated on it because as he was researching and looking for more cedars, he wanted to change things up. And French oak, I mean, some of the barrels that are used are thousands and thousands of dollars. And if the spirit companies are using these French oaks, he thought it was important and wanted to see what it would do to a cigar. And I think he nailed it.
Yeah, and you talk about the Byron 1850 as well, being also part of that process. And I know that at the trade show, I know it's not out, but we also saw a Nelson. So there's Alfonso,
Yes.
but then there's also a Nelson, which I don't know. Is that still on track to come out next year?
That looks like that's going to be a 2024 release.
2024. Okay.
So what's amazing and what's great about Nelson is that he can, there's good and bad, because when you showcase these these new cigars, then that's what people they see, and then they want to order, they want to see how they can get them, but they're just not ready. But because he has cigars aging and new projects in development years in advance, he's able to showcase them, so you can see what's coming out and what the trajectory of the company is. And that's the brilliance of Nelson and Selected Tobacco.
Now I know with that brand, he's kind of gone another different direction, which I also thought was unique. That cigar is going to be, if I remember correctly, it's going to be 5 different cigars that are all from a different region. Is that what I remember correctly?
Yeah, for the Nelson, he's working on
For the Nelson, yeah.
With different tobaccos, and that's what's changing the release time. But he's trying to use kind of have different regions featured, and possibly in the future different manufacturers that are highlighted with the line. But yeah, that's causing a little bit of delay.
Interesting. We look forward to seeing that one. That's gonna be another. I feel like every you could look at every specific brand or line or whatever, and there's just something unique about it. And I think that's another interesting thing about Nelson and his brand as a whole. But even you look at the non-selected stuff that you guys have with United, whether it's Red Anchor, it's YAYA, you have the Arnold Andre stuff. It's like every single one of those pieces is so unique and different. But when you look at the entire United portfolio, you put all of it together, like you have such a diverse collection, and everything, it can tell its own story. It's very specific. The cigars stand alone. You look at brands, right? Brands that offer cigars. Obviously, they're all going to be different, but they're going to have similarities because they all they come from the same kitchen, so to speak, right? Where you guys are not a manufacturer, you're more of a distributor. You have some of your own products, or whatever, but you have such a collection of all these different pieces from all these different people that when you put your own portfolio together, it really is. It's really such a cool setup when you go and look at the United products. And if you go to a United retailer who carries maybe not everything, but a nice majority of some of these cigars, it's nice. You could grab United cigars. You can grab like 3 or 4 different brands, and you could smoke all completely different stuff. And it's all great stuff too. And that's one of the other things I like, is that while you carry brands, right? All of the brands you guys carry, they all have that. They have their price point, and it works for them. And I think that it's a reasonable price point for what it is. They all have the high quality. I don't think there's anything you guys carry that doesn't reflect its quality and its price point, if that makes sense. I mean, everything just is kind of where it should be, and it reflects the right way. And I mean, whether it's a firecracker or it's a YAYA or it's Arnold Andre, whether it's some of the United stuff like the United box pressed um, banded stuff that you guys have, or then you go into Nelson stuff. I mean, it all just fits so well together. And that's one of the things about United as a whole that we've talked about, is that it just take the brands themselves and the cigars themselves out of it. Just you look at the way that you guys have really set up your portfolio, and then the way that you guys present it, it fits so well together. And just the way you guys roll it out and everything you do with it, it seems like the perfect marriage, right? And this is something, like I said, if you watch the Spare Note show, Coop and I have talked a lot about United this year, and all the different things you guys have done, and it's just been really fun to watch. It really has. I have to say, it's been so fun to watch.
Thank you.
Watching you guys grow too. I mean, I remember a few years ago, you guys were still kind of, working on some new stuff, and like now we're seeing like some of these new brands come in with you, new projects you guys are working on, or projects that the manufacturers you carry are working on. Like it's all like starting to really slowly continue to build and come together, and it's just been so fun to watch that. And I think that we did our power rankings pieces a few weeks ago. I believe it was on the hot list of like, who's hot right now, and United was on that list. You guys are hot, and it's not because of one cigar. It's not because of one brand. It's not even just because of Atabey, Byron, Bandolero. That's obviously one that people talk about a lot, because I know it's whatever, but it's even the other stuff. It's YAYA, it's Arnold Andre, it's it's all the different firecrackers you guys do. I mean, it's everything. It's just because there's so many different ways you guys can continue to be unique, and I think that's really what makes you guys shine. So, like I said, I just had to say that. I mean, it's been so fun to watch United as a company grow, because you guys have just every time it's just been, just something new, something creatively forward, and it's for so far it's been a hit, and it really has.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's been. I started with the company in 2016, and it was still. I mean, it was a young company. They would really just it was David Garofalo who started it, and then they would go to the show once a year, really just for selected tobacco. When I came on board in 2016, Dave, who is just an absolute workhorse, constantly working. I mean, we talk over the weekends. Getting either through text messages or calls, and there was, to work for someone like that, to then kind of test the waters with me at first. When I came on board, we talked about my background, what we could do, and it was a project that was still very young, unknown. There were just a few retailers across the country that even knew about United Cigars or the product. And after I have to say, just after a couple months, he really just gave me free rein and said, "Look, run with it." And obviously, I authorize everything through him. But give me free rein to start working on the different packaging to kind of rejuvenate some of the brands. Reblend some of the cigars as well. So that takes me to the Dominican about three to four times a year. And then just introducing the lines, and the portfolio, as you touched on, is very extensive. We have cigars from $1.50 all the way up to $50+, and that's not because we set the price point for everything. We distribute cigars as well. So some of those cigars in the portfolio, the higher end, that's coming from the manufacturer, and that's where we have to set it. The cigars that we come out with, you can see they go from the Red Anchor. One justified the price, so we wanted to get that project going because of the tobacco used, because of the process. But when we come out with a cigar that we are able to cut cost on, something like the United, it's still under the $10 price point. So we try to pass any savings we have. We try to manufacture a good cigar that's quality, that smokes well, that will provide a good experience. And if we can pass that on to the retailer so that they can survive with a product on the shelf that offers them a quality product at a good price point that their customers can then come in and purchase, smoke, and enjoy and come back for, that's all we wanted to do. So it's been it's been a challenging road because 2016, as I said, when I started, I was traveling across the country just myself there. We didn't have anybody else representing the brand. I have a tremendous support team in the in the office and the warehouse, but it was myself 3 weeks out of the month, suitcase and never left the room and hitting the road. And now we're fortunate enough where we have 7 brokers on the road representing different territories in the U.S. and then the territories that aren't covered by someone else and I'm still traveling for. So it's it's a lot of work, but to sit down with you, or in fact, with the retailer I was with today, to hear someone say that they recognize the brand or they know the name or they've seen so many changes and it's all positive, it means a tremendous amount, but it's incredibly humbling too. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, no, absolutely. It's the truth. I mean, it's just, like I said, I call it like I see it. And, there's been times when we see stuff that we don't think is great and we'll say it. But, this is really how we feel about it. And it's something that, you guys can go back and watch all the episodes. We've talked about it all year. I'm not making this up. So it really has. United's been one of like 3 or 4 companies that have just really been like, fuck. I mean, like, it's just great this year. It's really been a ride for you guys, and I'm excited for you. Oliver, I'm going to give you a break for a second. I'm going to bring Nicole back on, and we're going to talk news really quickly. Our news is once again brought to you by Micallef Cigars. If you head over to micallefcigars.com today, sign up to become an official ambassador. And while you're at it, head over to their Facebook Micallef Ambassadors group to hang out with all of the other Micallef ambassadors in such a great social atmosphere, only at Micallef Cigars. All right, Nicole, what do we have this week?
So I am still here, indeed. Just wanted to say that. Today's news. Scandinavian Tobacco Group to appeal decision in Cohiba trademark ruling. The U.S. Trademark Trial and Appeal Board yesterday ruled in favor of Cuban government-owned Cuba Tobacco, Habanos S.A., and its lawsuit against Scandinavian Tobacco Group's General Cigar Company over the trademark registrations for the Cohiba mark in the United States. General Cigar, which manufactures and markets the Cohiba brand in the United States, has vowed to rigorously defend its rights and immediately appeal the ruling. Regis, I'm probably going to butcher his name, Broserma, president of STG's North America and Rest of the World division, said Cuba Tobacco's challenge to General Cigar's ownership of the Cohiba trademark in the U.S. has no merit, and this decision by the TTAB will have no impact on General Cigar's plans to manufacture, sell, market, and enforce the Cohiba mark in the U.S. General Cigar's trademark registrations will also remain active while the appeal is pending. If you want to read more, head on over to smokintabacco.com because the full article is there, as well as the rest of this week's news.
Absolutely. Always head over to smokintabacco.com for all of the latest news and updates from the cigar industry. There was a bunch of different stuff that came out this week. This was a busy week for news. Another interesting one that came out, and I don't know if Nicole, you don't have to pull it up. I'm just gonna reference it really quick. El Septimo hired Kevin Petosa from JC Newman Cigars. He's going to be over there doing in the role of Director of Business Development and Credit. The third and final part of our final quarter segment, the Who to Watch segment, is also up now. The companies who we think maybe they aren't at the top of the list, but they're definitely ones to watch for the next couple of years going forward. That is up on smokintabacco.com, as well as several updates from the PCA, Cigar Rights of America, regarding the report on the CTP structural and operational concerns, the failings at the FDA's Tobacco Center highlighted by the independent report. PCA launches the first international grassroots campaign in Canada. All that cool and fun stuff. You can hear all about it. I know it's a little dry, but it's also important stuff, and you should read about it when you have some time because it does affect your rights as a cigar smoker. You can head over to smokintabacco.com today and read all about it. Oliver, I'm going to do the I think, is Nicole back? She came out here really quick. Nicole, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, sorry. I want to jump into the top 3, if you don't mind. I don't know if you had that ready. I have a top 3 that I wanted to run through with Oliver.
I do. Give me just one moment.
Yeah,
Let's
no
see
worries.
here. All right. You want to do it?
Love that Nicole
Go
looks
ahead.
so festive.
Oh, you want me
With
to?
the Christmas lights in the back.
I know. I'm very festive.
I'm wearing red, so that's about all I got.
It looks
All
good
right.
on you though. The red's it's a good color. All right, our top 3 is brought to you once again by Room 101 Cigars.
Watch the Smokin Tabacco show. Eat your vegetables. Take your vitamins. Smoke Room 101.
There we go.
And there you go. And never forget it either. The words to live by. Our Room 101 top 3 this week, obviously brought to you by Room 101 Cigars. It's obviously it's Christmas. It's the holiday. It's the holiday time of the year. It's very festive, as Oliver just pointed out. Oliver, I'm going to play this one for you. 3. What are 3? It doesn't have to be specific, but it can be general. It can be like categorized, whatever. But if you want to be specific, that's fine too. 3 gifts, like all-time gifts, that you'd like to receive, and then 3 gifts that you would want to give for Christmas.
Wow.
I wanted to make it tricky because I don't the easy ones are always like so easy. Like I want to catch people off guard. I want to make them think. I thought, that's definitely going to stop him in his tracks.
yeah, that was an abrupt stop. So I'll tell you this, for Christmas, I don't want to say I'm one of the hardest guys to shop for, because it's not that I have everything, but I'm very particular. I don't like a lot of stuff. If I with my kids, if they're looking for something, or family that's looking to get me a gift, it's usually something that I'll purchase and then have them wrap up and give to me. So 3 gifts that I would like to have. Should I just talk about this year?
Yeah, sure.
So the Walther P22 little handgun, but it's a 22 caliber. Nice little handgun that I wanted, because taking I take my kids to the range. It's a nice little pistol for my daughter to practice on, be comfortable with. Not only so here's the thing, because I know that's sometimes a tricky subject. It's not only for them to be able to handle the weapon, but it's also to understand the safety and the importance of it, because a lot of the injuries and foolish things that can happen is because of the that unknown and not being trained properly behind it. So I would say that's one. I'm also I needed a new razor. You can see I need some shaving. So a double-edged razor is coming my way. And then not putting anything out there, but a nice new watch is on the list. That's a little higher end than I like to get, but yeah, that's if Santa's listening, yeah, nice watch. And then to give, for giving to me is so personal. It's not about just handing things over that's going to clutter a house and getting a gift just to get a gift. One of the life lessons I like to give to my kids is when we're out to eat at a restaurant, I'll usually have them pick a table, and we'll pick up the bill before that person's ready to leave. As we're ready to go, we'll pay for it. And I have them pick the table, and it's not that it's not that we feel bad and we want to be better than anyone. And I also tell them, don't pick a table of 10, please. But just to show that we're comfortable, and it's to pass on something nice, so that I just picture the people sitting there, and we're already gone, but I picture them sitting there, and they're looking at the waiter or the waitress, dumbfounded, like, wait, what do you mean it's paid for? Like, who did that? Oh, there was a table that wanted to pick up your tab, and they look around, and I just hope that they then pass that along to someone else. some nice gesture. And if at the very least it just puts a smile on their face, then that to me is a great gift to give to someone. I'll say a dash cam is a nice new gift because I'm on the road all the time. I just got one for my son. They're crazies out there. So a good little dash cam.
That's very true. That's very, very true.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're just easy to install, and you never know what's going to happen. And then just the gift of United. How about that? Let's all buy, smoke, and live united.
That's right. Oh, I see you lit up that red anchor. Oh, look at you. Look at you treating yourself. That's a great cigar.
We talked about it. It was here. I wanted to show it.
And as always, you can find that cigar, once again, at the number 2, guyscigars.com, as well as all, I assume every United Cigar is available at 2guyscigars.com. I'd hope so. But you can find all of the United Cigars at the number 2, guyscigars.com. Before we wrap up, Oliver, one of the things that I wanted to bring up, there's another cigar that came out this year. And I know that it probably didn't have the glitz and the glamour as some of the other cool stuff, and I know some people like that. But this cigar I tried very early on, and I was very impressed with it. Has a nice price point, smaller format. It's a good, to me, it was a nice cigar to start the day off with. And that was the La Mezcla Cubana. That was a very interesting cigar. And I wanted to end the show on that one because I wanted to end the show on something different that we hadn't talked about, we hadn't mentioned. I purposely left it out because I think it is a cigar that doesn't get talked about a lot, but I don't think people should sleep on it. I think people need to try that cigar. I think they need to buy it. I think that is it's a strong, not strong in terms of actual strength, but it's a strong player in the United profile. I think it's like I said, it's on the more inexpensive side, but it still holds up really well. It's great. It really is. It's fantastic. Tell us a little bit more about that cigar.
Yeah, so that was an interesting project. Growing up or getting into cigars, that Rothschild size. It's 4.5 by actually it's by 54. But it's a nice round short cigar, Dominican filler. There was a time that I guess now it's been about a year and a half, 2 years. There was this wrapper at the Mahia Cubana factory that they weren't using. It was a smaller wrapper. They didn't know what to do with. They talked to us about it. They said that they had this this aged wrapper, and it was something that I wanted to use, and wanted something that's approachable, not only in price but in profile, and you wanted something light but still with enough complexity that kind of keeps you interested. It's really a $6 price point. A beautiful light bodied cigar, little hints of sweetness in it, and it was launched this year at the PCA, and boxes of 50. So it's a great grab for customers that even if you put it at the register, it's a great add-on. And when you look at more of those inexpensive cigars, you don't necessarily hear a lot about them, but it's been rated. I mean, it's been rated high. It's not something that usually in those price points under that $10 range. Sometimes you really don't see them on social media as much, or you don't hear it talked about as much because that's just one that it's an everyday cigar. People are just grabbing, and I guess it really hasn't gotten as much coverage as maybe it should, because it's a very approachable cigar, but it's been well received and it's doing really well for us. So we're very happy with it.
Yeah, like I said, I smoked that cigar, and you had told me about it. We talked about it. You showed it to me and all that, and so I knew everything about it going into it. I smoked it, just thinking about the cigar though, just being like, well, regardless of everything else, just let's smoke it. And I was just sitting, and I sat there and I was like, you know something, like this cigar is just fantastic. Like I don't even care like what it costs or like what it is. Like this cigar is great. It's just a cigar that I don't care what you smoke, you should try the cigar because I think it might surprise you. And I say that because I know, and you know this too, and anyone who works in a retail store knows this, right? It's one of those cigars you see it. I know, like there might be a cigar you see like up at the register or something like that, and maybe you just go like, oh, but no, don't pass on this cigar. This is a great cigar. Even if you're like a Padron smoker, the guy who's like, I only smoke Padrones, or like if you're the guy who's like, I only smoke Perdomo, I only smoke LFD. Try this cigar, please. Just do me a favor. Do Oliver a favor. Don't even do it for me. Do it for Oliver. He's a great guy, right? But no, seriously, try that cigar. It really is. It really impressed me. I thought it was great. And I wanted to make sure that got some love tonight on the show. But that's pretty much going to wrap up the show for us tonight. I wanted to end on that note. I wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, that La Mezcla Cubana is a great cigar for shopping. If you have some downtime and you have a family member that's shopping and you want to smoke a cigar, that's a good 45-minute, 1 hour cigar to grab. It's not going to be overpowering. You're going to be able to enjoy it in the parking lot or wherever. That's a very utilitarian cigar and very budget friendly for the holidays, so you can spend more on your loved ones.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, Oliver, don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We got some stuff we gotta talk about after the show, but that's gonna do it for us this week. So thank you for being here, Oliver. We really appreciate it as always.
Thank you.
This has been absolutely. It's been a great time. Thank you to everyone who's been watching and listening. And if you're watching or listening later, thank you as well. But if you haven't, go ahead and like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and or everywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever. We're on all those channels. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. You can always send us questions, comments, concerns you can send them to me, my email, Matthew@smokintabacco.com. And as always, visit smokintabacco.com for all news, updates, reviews, and all sorts of exciting things that are going on, not just with us, but in the cigar community, in the cigar industry, every day at smokintabacco.com. And with that, we will see you next week. Have a very Merry Christmas to all those who celebrate. A Happy Hanukkah to our Jewish friends. And we'll see you next week as we wrap up the year. And we'll have our end of the year show, followed by the wrap up of the Spare Note show for the year. And wish everyone a Happy New Year at that point. So we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye, everyone.